All right, let's get back to NBA basketball. Now, of course, Cleveland, they're looking for a playmaker, ostensibly a point guard who could take away the playmaking duties from a guy like Kyrie Irving. So Kyrie Irving, who's essentially a shooting guard in what is today a point guard's body, could focus more on scoring, and the other players could just focus more on scoring, and the playmaker can make the offense run more fluid, and yada, yada, yada. And I see the general manager saying that, well, the playmaker doesn't necessarily have to be a point guard, just someone who can help with their offense. So I was thinking, you guys tell me, maybe this wouldn't work. What about if Carmelo joined the team? Now, this is a lot of what ifs and what have yous, and this has to happen, whatever, and it's most likely not going to ever happen. But let's say Carmelo catches wind of the idea that the Cleveland Cavaliers are interested in his services. I would think then that he would think long and hard about that particular trade. I know he likes the New York lifestyle. He likes living in the area. But I would think that ultimately he would decide to greenlight that trade. He's what? How old is Carmelo now? About 33 years old, I assume. I think he's about 33 years old. And he's now at the stage of his career where he's clearly getting on the downside of his career. One thing I will say is this. The Carmelo Anthony era of New York has not worked out to expectations. It hasn't worked out. They've never been to an Eastern Conference Finals, let alone an NBA Finals. Carmelo Anthony, as skilled an offensive player as he is, he's clearly not the type of player that you can lead, that you can wrap your franchise around, or build your franchise around is a better term I want to use. He's not that type of guy. He's not a Dwayne Wade. He's not a LeBron James. He's not a Kobe Bryant. He's damn sure not a Michael Jordan. So, and also, Carmelo has this reputation for being, and I did a video very recently about this, I think he is going to have a reputation as a loser. Now, why would I call Carmelo Anthony a loser and not Charles Barkley and Karl Malone and John Stockton and all these other various players, Tim Hardaway and all these other guys who haven't won titles? Well, the difference between them and Carmelo is that during the playoffs, all of those guys I mentioned have memorable moments. All of them. John Stockton with the big three-pointer against the Houston Rockets to send his team to the finals. Tim Hardaway, I remember going off for 6 three-pointers against the New York Knicks, scoring nearly 40 points in Game 7 of the 1997 Eastern Conference semifinals. I remember that game. All other games. Charles Barkley with the big 44-point, 24-rebound performance against the Seattle Supersonics in the Western Conference Finals, Game 7. Karl Malone, multiple big games against the LA Lakers. Back when Shaq and Kobe were there and sweeping them one year and winning the year before that, I think 4-1 in the Western Conference Finals and whatnot. I mean, they had big moments, individual games. Ultimately, most of the time, the reason why these guys lost is because of Michael Jordan. All right, Michael Jordan stopped many great players from going to the promised land. Barkley met his Jordan Waterloo in the finals in '93. Michael was scoring 41 points a game. Stockton and Malone in the finals were stopped by Jordan and the Bulls. Tim Hardaway and the Heat were eliminated in 5 games by Michael Jordan in '97 Eastern Conference Finals. You get my point. It's just that those players, ultimately, as great as they were, lost to the greatest player in NBA history. Carmelo Anthony, on the other hand, just hasn't shown up. Even the most in the earliest rounds. I mean, let's think about it. How many playoff games do we remember Carmelo was like, wow, remember that game when Carmelo did this? You don't really think of it. It's like, I remember having one 40-point game. I think he had 42 points against the Celtics. One game. That's the only game I can really remember of his. Other than that, they're all like subpar performances. Inconsistent with the moment and the talent I keep hearing that he had. But anyway, I was wondering if Carmelo joins the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? Let's say he goes join Cleveland. Maybe LeBron can change his role to a playmaker. You know, that's his entire role. So like how Larry Bird changed his role to playmaker, facilitator after the injuries. He changed. Maybe LeBron can do that. Carmelo can focus on scoring. That's all he seems interested in any goddamn way, right? So then you have Carmelo, who's going to be helped by LeBron and his high basketball IQ, leading Carmelo into taking better shots and a better shot selection. Take the ball out of Carmelo's hands, being the facilitator, but setting guys up like Carmelo, who I think is better. I think Carmelo would be better if he played from the post through mid-range. I think he would be better in that role. I think he would go from shooting around 43% to more around 46, 47%. I think he'd be a lot more effective as an offensive player if he cut down on shooting so many threes. I mean, there's nothing wrong with shooting open threes, but, cut down on the usage rate, the ball handling, the ball holding, the ball stopping, and get used to playing off the ball. I think Carmelo would be a lot better if he were to adjust. I know it would be a huge adjustment, and he would probably pout and simper and whine for a while. But when they start winning, I think it would work. I think it could work. And then you have all the other guys who are already implementing the system. Do you think this will work? Or do you think Carmelo just wouldn't be a good fit? I think it could work ultimately. LeBron James is I make fun of him a lot, man, but LeBron James is clearly the leader of this team. All right? He and Kyrie at least. Carmelo would not come in there with a superstar attitude. He couldn't. Because, number one, he knows he's not better than LeBron. He's really not better than Kyrie at this stage of his career. I think that he would listen, and I know he may act like it doesn't mean anything to him, but I'm certain that winning a title would be very, very an emotional experience for him, because I know that he probably doesn't like what people say about him, including people like me on the internet and people with far larger audiences say about him. If anything about the tirade I heard he had in the locker room after a loss recently is anything to be indicative of that, I know that he wants to win. I know that he's tired of being in the situation in New York. But guys, tell me what you, at least losing in New York is concerned. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think that Carmelo would work in Cleveland?